friends. Do you know where we are this week? How about now? Do you know where we are? Now do you know where we are? That's right, we're in Chicago. This is the Chicago Institute of Art, and it has one of the largest libraries about art and architecture in the country, and it's one of the oldest museums in the country. Let's go inside. Does this painting look familiar? This is called American Gothic by Grant Wood, and it was painted in 1930. He called it American Gothic because he was just driving down the road and he saw this old farmhouse, but up in the farmhouse is a Gothic window, and he thought it looked really out of place for just a farmhouse in the middle of Iowa. So then Grant Wood painted his dentist is actually the farmer, was the model for the farmer, and his sister was the model for the farmer's daughter. But a lot of people think that it's the farmer's wife, but it's really supposed to be the farmer's daughter. But what really makes this painting famous is that it's been parodied, or people represent it in different ways with different meanings. Another famous painting that you'll see at the Chicago Institute of Art is Nighthawks by Edward Hopper, and it was painted in 1942. Now, Nighthawks is so intriguing because it has so many questions with it. Why are these people here? Who are they? What's going on? And a lot of people think it was inspired by Ernest Hemingway's short stories. But this is a really great study in cool and warm colors, because inside it's warmer. You have some yellows and some reds and some browns. And then outside it's very cool with blues and greens. And even though these people are in a building together, they aren't really together even. They're not really looking at each other or interacting that much. And outside there's all of this empty space. And it just makes you wonder what's going on. Another painting that you'll see at the Chicago Institute of Art is Sunday on the Island of La Grande Jatte by Seurat. He's a French painter and a post-impressionist. This was painted in 1859. And so he's a post-impressionist like Van Gogh, but his style is very different. What's interesting about this painting is you have a lot of people looking out onto the water, but you have people of high society, that they're very rich and polished, and then you have a lower society of people next to each other, and they're juxtaposed. Also, what's most interesting about this painting is Seurat painted in what was later styled pointillism. And so if you get really close, you can see that it's made up of just a bunch of dots. Okay, let's see if we can get closer. Now that we've gotten really close to Seurat's painting, we're going to take a look. And when you get really close, you're going to see that his painting is made up of little dots. And he painted it so that when you stand back, it looks like a painting. But when you get super close, it just looks like a bunch of dots. He was like the first guy to paint with pixels. Next to the Chicago Institute of Art is actually this huge park called Millennium Park. And there's some beautiful sculptures, interactive sculptures there that the public can get close to and touch and interact with. One of the sculptures is the Crown Fountain, designed by Jaume Plensa. And it's actually these two faces, or two screens, and it projects faces of people and their facial expressions like they're talking to each other over this reflecting pool that, it's actually a big splash pad. And then every now and then the faces spit. How silly is that? Another sculpture you'll find at Millennium Park is Cloudgate, or as Chicagoans have nicknamed it, the Bean. It was designed by Sir Amish Kapoor, and it was inspired by liquid mercury, or liquid metal. And it's made up of all these stainless steel plates, like 162 of them, that have been polished so finely that you can't even see where the seams are meeting. And it distorts the skyline of Chicago. It's a really great place to go take a selfie. Something that you'll see at the Millennium Park next to the Chicago Institute of Art is the Pritzker Pavilion. Now the Pritzker Pavilion is an open-air symphony hall where the symphony plays in the summer in Chicago when the weather is nice. Now this building was designed by Frank Gehry, a famous architect, and you can see his style is very unique, and we might see this at another museum we're going to visit soon. But it looks like it was like this box, and then the music started to play and it just like burst open. So it feels like the music is just bursting out of this building. And there's also a trellis going over the area where the people sit. Now, to get this building built, they actually had to classify it as a sculpture because of the height restrictions in Chicago and in the park. So it's really a piece of art. Now let's see what it would look like at night. Oh my gosh, look, it's nighttime. Look how gorgeous it looks with the light reflecting off of the building and the building materials. So thank you so much for coming to Millennium Park and the Chicago Institute of Art with me this week. And next week you'll have to tune in to see where we're going to go next.